So last session we discussed about the basic features of how do we deal with Angular, right? Now today we are going to discuss detailedly about the features. What are the features of Angular? So last session we discussed what are the limitations of Angular JS and difference between Angular JS and Angular. Those are the points we learned. What you understood, can you tell one point? What is the difference between Angular JS? What is Angular JS and what is Angular? Any one of you? Just in one point. What is Angular and what is Angular JS? What you understood by yesterday's session? Just in simple point, can you tell what is Angular JS and what is Angular? So, any one of you? Yeah. So, in simple first level point, generally you can simply say that Angular JS is framework. That's good, right? Angular JS is framework and Angular is not just a framework. Angular JS is framework and Angular is, what is Angular? Angular is an developer's platform, am I right? Right. Angular is a developer's platform, right. So what is a developer's platform? I told you that means it has end-to-end solution from building to debugging, right? Building to deploying, yes. So fine. yes, okay, fine. So you understood the point clearly. That is important, right? Yeah, you cannot say strongly typed for Angular JS, right? Angular JS is not strongly typed. It's a framework now. You have to say strongly typed for language, JavaScript, right? Angular JS uses JavaScript, which is not strongly typed. Yeah, you should not directly say that Angular JS is not strongly typed. Huh? Fine. Oh, you understood all the differences. That's good. Great, right? So the point you understood that Angular JS is not just Angular JS is a framework. Angular is not just a framework. Now, important is what are the features? The key features, right? Key features of Angular. What are the key features of Angular? What are the key features of Angular? We need to understand. All right. So you miss the class, you continue with today's class. All right. And you have a GitHub repository where you can go through yesterday's notes. Right. Once we start our sessions in a registered way, means we start session for registered people, then we will conduct backup for your missed classes. So in the demos, I can't revise you again and again the missed classes, right? You have to attend all the sessions in a registered way. When you registered and we started working, and we will provide a complete backup for the topics you missed out, right? So as of now, you just continue. So you go through yesterday's notes, and that notes will be given to you on GitHub. You can get the notes we discussed, right? Yeah. Still any doubts are there? You ping me towards the end. We can talk about that. Fine. Now, what are the key features of Angular? What are the key features of Angular? The main features of Angular. Let's see. So the major features of Angular that drives the developers towards Angular, the main features of Angular. What are the features of Angular? So let's see. First important is Angular has several advantages. One of the advantages of Angular is Angular provides complete. Angular provides complete. Angular is cross-platform. Angular is cross-platform. Cross-platform. Angular is cross-platform, right? Yeah. I will tell you the features. What are those? We will discuss about that. Detailedly, we are going to understand some features. Angular is cross-platform. And actually, the main point about Angular, how it is cross-platform, I told you in the introduction. We discussed about that. So it is cross-platform. So because it uses frameworks like I told you some frameworks like Cordova, like Ionic, like NativeScript. That is one important feature. Another, that means what is the advantage of this is it uses the frameworks like Cordova, Ionic, and NativeScript, so that you can build cross-platform mobile applications, cross-platform mobile applications. You can build cross-platform mobile applications. Not only that, you can also build cross-platform. You can also build cross-platform desktop installed applications. Desktop installed application means across Windows or Mac, so or other operating systems. Mac, other operating systems, and other operating systems. Desktop installed applications also you can build with Angular. So Angular provides a complete cross-platform feature that makes the applications run on any device and any operating system. So these are the key points about its cross-platform abilities. That means Angular application can run on any device and any operating system services. OS. Any device, any operating system services. That is the ability of Angular application. So that is one important feature of cross-platform. Another important feature, I told you that Angular is modular and asynchronous. Angular, one of the key benefits is it is modular and asynchronous. What do you mean by modular? Modular means only the library that is required for the current situation is loaded. That means which means that it is not using legacy library, which means that it is not using a legacy library. That means only the library that is needed for that situation is loaded, not legacy. I told you in the last session what is meant by legacy, right? Legacy means the entire library is loaded, even we are not using the library for that particular situation. So that is what actually modular approach. Modular means part by part. That means only that is needed for that situation will be loaded. That means you can simply say that application specific framework will be used. That's good. Application specific framework will be used. And very important is it is asynchronous. Asynchronous uses non-blocking technique. techniques. So this makes application. So that means it makes application perform fast. The functionalities to perform fast. Non-blocking technique. Asynchronous uses a non-blocking technique. Actually, we have two types of techniques, blocking and non-blocking. Asynchronous is very much trending now. All the technologies are implementing this asynchronous. All the technologies are implementing this asynchronous. All are handling this asynchronous mechanism. Now the point is, generally, the intention of asynchronous is, it is to avoid multi-threading. Actually, it is a simple alternative for multi-threading. If you are aware of multi-threading, even you are not aware of multi-threading, what is unblocking technique? I will tell you a simple point here. So what is unblocking technique? Let's see. Actually, unblocking technique means, generally what happens is, so we have a set of resources. Generally, we have a set of resources. We usually have set of resources. Actually. We have set of resources on server. Generally, what happens is, so from client, so we have A, B, C, D. And from client, we are making a request. To A. So when we make a request to A, it will wait until the response comes from A. Once the response is successful from A, then it will go to the next request, that is B. Request B. That means the request for B will not happen until the response from A is finished. That means other requests will be locked until the response from A is finished. This is blocking technique. Unblocking technique is nothing but, generally in unblocking, it will make requests to all of them. It's one after another request. It will not wait for response. Then whichever response is ready, that response will go back to the client. In this case, there is no order. Which one is ready, that will come first. There is nothing like queue mechanism. Generally, blocking means it is a queue mechanism. That means after A, then B. After B, then C. After C, then D, like this. But in non-blocking technique, asynchronous technique, after making a request, it will not wait for rest. It will proceed to mechanism as asynchronous. That is what actually we call as asynchronous. That means, so the point here is, so makes a request and will not for response. It proceeds to next. That is what actually the non-blocking technique is. So this is the basic approach. So that is what actually modular and asynchronous. This makes application more faster. Important point. So Angular, so one is cross-platform. So another one is, it is modular and asynchronous. Important is that means the key feature is it's frameworks for building app, frameworks for building application. Actually, Angular uses frameworks like it can use frameworks like MVP, and MVVM client side. It can use frameworks like MVC, MVP, MVVM frameworks. Generally, the purpose of these frameworks, MVC, MVP, MVVM frameworks, what is the special ability of the frameworks is Angular internally uses these frameworks for building an application. The specialty of the frameworks is nothing but the main ability is these frameworks like MVC and MVP and MVVM like frameworks, what they do is they enable features like reusability. They enable features like extensibility. They enable features like testability, and enable the features like maintainability. These are all the features that you can achieve by implementing these frameworks. That means Angular applications provide a complete support where we can easily reuse the components, we can easily extend the components, we can easily test the components, we can easily maintain the components because of the frameworks it uses in the background. Actually, if anyone asks what is the benefit of using these frameworks, actually these frameworks are used for achieving reusability, extensibility, and testability and maintainability. Actually, MVC, MVP, MVVM, they introduce the features of code separation, code reusability. So that means separation and reusability concerns, usability concerns, right? They address the issues of separation and reusability concerns. That is very important. And the point is Angular frameworks are best suitable. That means these frameworks complement SPA and progressive apps. What is SPA? Single page application, progressive application. That means they will best support for the applications like single page application, progressive application. And very important, these frameworks will resolve data binding issues, how to access the data, how to bind the data, right? These frameworks have the ability to handle all this. They complement the single page and progressive web applications. That means user can have a better experience. For application. These are all the benefits of supporting the frameworks for building an application like MVC, MVP, and MVVM. These are all the frameworks supported by Angular. That is very important. So that means the key features: cross-platform, modular and asynchronous, and support of various frameworks. Another important is about the key concept is speed and performance. Another important feature is about speed and performance. Actually, speed and performance is already I told you, as it is modular. It is lightweight. As it is modular, it is lightweight. So less startup time. It will take very less startup time. So that means it will take very less startup time. It uses only the framework required for the situation. That is what actually it makes speed better. That means as per Google, it have applications run with 10x speed than AngularJS app. 10x speed, that means 10 times faster than an AngularJS application. Another very important here is if anyone asks like how it can handle these type of options, that means actually it can use techniques. It can use techniques like code splitting splitting that makes it more modular. Code splitting means only that is needed for that situation, and it can use techniques like dynamic loading. That means operations are resolved at runtime, not at compile time. But dynamic loading have problem. If anything is resolved at runtime, if there is a problem, then runtime exceptions will come. That is also a problem. But it will save the compile time. Due to that, it performs faster. It introduces the features like dynamic loading. And very important is, so Angular 9 is now using Ivy, a rendering engine. So which can provide the strategy which can provide the strategy of build and run. That means you can simply build and run the application. It provides the strategy for build and run. Actually, what we have to do is we have to build, we have to compile, and we have to run. Then it provides a strategy that build and run. This makes compiling faster. So that is very important. So Angular applications are very faster than the others. Actually, not only that. Actually, Angular provides tools. So like CLI, which is a command line tool, which is responsible for building fast, and adding components and tests, and deploy them with simple commands. It provides tools like CLI, command line interface, CLI, which is responsible for building fast, adding components and tests, and deploy with simple commands. That makes the performance better. And very important is these are all under the category of speed and performance. And one more important feature, end-to-end solution. What is end-to-end solution? We already know. End-to-end solution means it provides all the tools required for a developer deploy applications. Very important is Angular even supports high level animations. So with combination of HTML and CSS, that means they can build better progressive web applications. You can use all the features of HTML and CSS and build high level animations to make more interactive applications. Another important is Angular supports so plugins plugins by using materials by using materials. Actually, Angular supports plugins and widgets. Actually, we call widgets. Plugins and widgets by using materials. So which are ready to deploy, ready to integrate and deploy. That means the point is Angular supports ready-made widgets. Yesterday I told you third parties. So Angular have its own third party like materials. Means Angular has its own plugin. For example, if you have learnt JavaScript jQuery, suppose in jQuery I want a navigation bar, then you don't need to design a navigation bar. A ready-made plugin is available, you can add it. Suppose you want a calendar, a ready-made plugin is available, you can simply add it. Like that, Angular also have its own plugins and widgets. Earlier we need to depend on some third parties, but the basic requirements are provided by Angular materials like concept. But remember, Angular materials is not enough for our real time. Even you learn Angular materials, you will not use much Angular materials because a genuine real world developer is not satisfied with Angular materials, whatever they provide. It's not enough at all. We don't care about that actually. Why? Because so we need more better than that. Angular is providing okay, but for my type of applications, that is not enough. We need more. Then we have to depend on obviously third party solutions than materials. Right? Even you know about materials and how to use materials, you can see Angular have materials. So this is Angular materials. I will show you. So Angular material. So this is Angular material. This is Angular material. You can see this Angular material. So you have so many components. You can see. Suppose I want a date picker. You can see it will give a ready-made date picker to you. You click here, a date picker will come. You can select. For that, whatever code is needed, it is giving it ready-made. You have to just plug in this and use it. So you want a side toggle. So select a toggle, right? Slide me. You can see you can get this slide toggle. For that, ready-made is there. You want navigation. So you want navigation. You click on navigation bar, toolbars. It will give a ready-made toolbar for you. Right? That means whatever the plugins we need, they are readily available for you. You have to just use them. You have to just plug in them and use them. That's what actually the ability here. So developer have an end-to-end solution. That means from building to testing and deploying, whatever is needed is provided by Angular. That improves the productivity of our Angular, right? It has ready-made templates. So that means you can say that predefined templates to implement, predefined business logics to implement. This makes Angular application, Angular is more better than Angular JS. These are all the key features of Angular. Now many people have a doubt like, in the market, I am knowing about now React.js. We have React.js, we have Vue.js, we have Angular, we have so many other options. These days, the main competitor for Angular is React. Actually, so many people have a doubt React and Angular. I told you Angular is able to handle framework like MVC, like MVVM, like MVP, right? Actually, they are model, view, controller. And later we will learn about what is this MVC and all when we start Angular. Actually, model represents the data, and view represents the UI, and controller, view represents the UI, and controller represents the logic. That means application logic. That means it has a rich support for dealing with data interaction with the controller application logic, right? Logic. It has all the abilities. It has all the abilities. Yeah, so material is not enough. You are not there in yesterday's session, Mr. Pankaj Kumar. Not there in yesterday's session. What is alternative for materials? I told you. Other people, can you tell him what are the other alternatives? Pankaj Kumar have a doubt, right? Material not enough, so what? Right? Other people, can you tell a solution for him? What are the other alternatives? Yesterday, just ping the message, right? What are the third-party tools? Can do UI, components, Telerik, third-party plugins. I think Pankaj Kumar, you are not there yesterday, right? Yeah. So because already, yeah. So already we discussed about that. So third party, what is the third party and how to implement them and all this we learned about that. All right. Fine. So these are important points. This is important here. Now Angular have a rich support for dealing with data, interacting with the data model. It concentrates on a lot of this. Remember, data means don't think that database. It is a client side. This is client side. Client side. We are talking about client side. That means from the server data will come. Your Java, .NET technologies, PHP, Python, and all these technologies use RESTful services, web services. They will send data. And client side, we capture the data with XML, JSON format data. And that data we store in a model. And through the model, we handle the communication with views and controllers. I will explain MVC framework detail. We will discuss about that framework detail, that how it actually works. Now, Angular have a complete integration. Angular have a complete integration to deal with all this, right? Later, you will detailedly learn about that, right? Already later learn about that. Don't concentrate on what is MVC now. It is a big concept. You will learn so many things about that, right? Because that is the one of the primary framework that our Angular uses. You will have a detailed idea about that when we start learning about it, right? So model represents the data and it is responsible for handling communication with the data. It contains the data. View for UI and controller is for application specific logic. That means now Angular can deal with model, views, and controllers and all these. And let's go to the official. Let's go to the official of React. Let's go Google and React.js. React.js. This is the official website of React.js, reactjs.org. And you can see here, React, a JavaScript library for building user interfaces. It is a JavaScript library for building user interfaces. Now, what do you say? What is React is about? Have any idea? What do you say? What is React about? Of course, it is React is a library. Yes, fine. And it is dealing with only UI, user interfaces. Yes, yes. It is dealing with only user interfaces. Am I right? Right. It's just like jQuery. It is most focusing on the presentation logic. Good. That's very good. It's dealing with UI only, UI design only. Right. So that means the point here, now nobody needs to explain you. Many people ask, sir, which one is good, sir? React is good, Angular is good. We can't decide that. React belongs to Facebook, And you know that React belongs to Facebook. Na? Everyone know that React belongs to Facebook, and Angular belongs to Google. Now what? You will say that React is so React is good. Angular can do which no, Node.js is server side. Don't compare with Node.js. Angular is only client side, right? Angular is only client side. Now you cannot say that, you cannot say which one good, sir. React is good, Angular is good. So both have their own priorities. The point is, see, you cannot simply tell one word that React is more trending or Angular is more trending. See, in the software development, you will have everything according to the requirements. So everything you have according to the requirements. So whatever you can achieve using Angular can be achieved by using React. Do you think? With a just library, JavaScript library, you can achieve everything, everything without much implementations. That means actually it requires a lot of integrations. A library alone cannot handle everything. It cannot control the application flow. Explicitly, you have to use other frameworks now, right? So that means, of course, it is declarative, component based, but it is mostly concentrating. It is mostly concentrating on. You see the official definition, a library, and it is officially a JavaScript library. And you know what is the problem with a JavaScript based library. So, and that is what the advantages we discussed over TypeScript, right? We discussed over the TypeScript. And what is the advantage of implementing various frameworks, right? That means when you understand about this, now you cannot say which one is better. Why? Because see, the project's demand, it depends on the project demand. That means the project demand. What is the project demand? So the project demand, see, remember, it is a library. Library means the technical point. Library means it is a JavaScript based library. So clearly they are telling, and you are again talking about TypeScript here. Once concentrate on the sentence, what they are telling. React people are telling that it is a JavaScript library, and you are asking, can I use TypeScript? What is that joke, right? Right? So fine. The point is, the concept is here, it depends on requirement, right? My project is dealing with all other interactions in my technology. I need to just concentrate on my UI, and already my library is JavaScript based. Then React will good complement for it, right? Now I am building a complete end-to-end application with all the features of MVC utilizing client side. I want to go with a new language to overcome the issues of JavaScript and all. Then obviously Angular. You cannot compare these two. Difference between React and Java Angular. Why? Because how you can compare a library with a complete platform? Angular is a platform, and this is a library, and you cannot even compare these two, right? That means then who will use React? Where they will use React? Where already their application is completely built and they are working on user interface, and they want to make the user interface more interactive, effective, lightweight, their main concentration on UI components, then they will go with React. If they want a lot of interactions over a framework inside client side, then they will go with Angular. That depends, right? These days, both have their own abilities and they have their own limitations. That's the reason important is you cannot say this is better, this is not better. So if you are learning React, you will miss the opportunities of Angular. And that means projects which are trying to avoid JavaScript and implement the new TypeScript, then they will obviously go with Angular only, right? Still stick to JavaScript, and they want just to make the UI components more interactive, then they go with React. So both have their own places, and of course, so which one have a lot of opportunities, that depends, because if you know Angular and if you know how to deal with Angular, that means you know more than what React have. Then dealing with React, it will be easy for you later also if you want to know about React. I hope you understood. That means if you learn React, then you will have to learn more later when you are learning Angular. If you already learnt Angular, and understanding about React is a simple thing. So in 2 days session, you can understand what is React and you can start working on that. But once you know React and came to Angular, Angular makes you more complex because it has several more things than a React is having. That makes it a little bit complex because it deals with models and the controllers and the communication between the models and controllers. So that approach will be a little bit different. So that means you can simply say that Angular have more than what React is having. And they have their own abilities. Both have their own abilities, right? So that is the reason we have to get a clarity, right? Whether it is Angular or that. We need to have a clarity about that, right? So first we need to understand about that. Right? Later we will discuss detailedly about these options. That means what other technologies have, that we don't need to worry much about them, but the point is many people ask the difference. That's the reason I given a simple point to give an overview about, to make you understandable. Hope you are clear with this. These are all the features of Angular. And after understanding this, what are versions of Angular, which difference between the versions I told you, architecture of Angular, how it works, we will not touch them because we are not learning Angular first. First, what we are going to learn is, first we are going to learn TypeScript as a language for Angular. Once we start learning TypeScript, after that we will start Angular. So we will not directly go into Angular. That's the reason I am not discussing any architecture of Angular here now. We will do that after we learn TypeScript. So we will not touch Angular now. First we will learn the language required for Angular. That we will start with TypeScript. So that means now we are going to first learn about a language, TypeScript. What is TypeScript, how it works, and how to deal with TypeScript. So it will take 2 weeks of time to finish TypeScript. Then we will go into Angular, right? Then I will tell you versions of Angular, what new things added in every version, which version application we are going to create, all such things we will discuss at that time. As of now, first we will start with the concept of TypeScript, right? That we will do in the next session, right? This is enough. And with this, actually, we finish all the demo part. Now we start the practical approach actually. And that practical approach, we will start from TypeScript. That means what to install, how to install, what is TypeScript, how to learn, how to use this language, we will detailedly discuss. And that we start with a regular concept now. And we will have that from Monday onwards. Tomorrow we don't have session. So tomorrow no session. Again we will meet. So tomorrow no session. Again we will meet on Monday. And from Monday we will start working with TypeScript. Practical approach we will start directly now. After learning language TypeScript, then we will go to Angular. There we will discuss detailedly. Okay. Tomorrow no session. Day after tomorrow, that means Monday we will continue with this. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Already I told you differential loading.
Okay, sir.
Yesterday session you were there.
Yes, sir.
Huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I told you legacy and modern browsers, they will
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
identify.
I remember, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
That is the point.
Thank you, sir.
This complete session will be 2 months, 60 days. Cross-platform means it can run on any operating system. Simple. Notes I am uploading on GitHub already, right?